with the Bitcoin Daily Show. Craig LeBlanc, your host with the Daily Bitcoin Podcast, live with Mark Couvillion, the founder of the oldest Bitcoin meetup in Louisiana, here in Baton Rouge, right?
To correct you right there, I'm not exactly the founder. It's a guy named Brandon Taylor, who now lives on the West Coast. He founded the meetup in 2014, and we took it over when he left, and it's been going ever since. So we're the longest running Bitcoin meetup in the state of Louisiana.
Fantastic. And then Mark is a longtime Bitcoin holder back from 2015?
No, it was 2013 was my first indulgence into Bitcoin, and it was really a smart move. I sent $10,000 to a place called Mt. Gox, and in February of 2014 they went bankrupt.
Nice.
So that's kind of a distinction between Bitcoiners, that if you're a Mt. Gox creditor.
That's it. You know, you were in early, fairly early, if you got Bitcoin through Mt. Gox before the big collapse. All right, so we wanted to talk with Mark a little bit about meetups and the importance of meetups. So maybe we can just start there. Tell us about what you think about the importance of meetups.
Well, what we like to see is that when I took over the meetup, before that, it was just Brandon. He'd have a whiteboard and try to give a lecture and show film clips, and it just didn't work out. It's hard to hold people's interest. So when we started, and it was me and another guy took it over, we said it was going to be, first of all, like a social gathering among Bitcoiners, and it was also going to be like just one-to-one contact with Bitcoiners to actually learn. If you've got some issue with Bitcoin, or you want to do something special, there's somebody going to be right there at the meetup who will probably be able to help you. If they can't, we can refer you to somebody who can. Now, we also introduced a Telegram channel to kind of go parallel with the meetup. And what that does is that gives us an immediate communication between the members of the meetup, and also we can post data about the subjects that were discussed at the meetup. So it's a very good place to learn. It's one-on-one learning. It's a lot better and more focused learning than you would by just reading a book or watching a video.
Now, for those of you that don't know, Mark is responsible for getting me out of my shitcoin stage. When I came to this meetup, I had all types of shitcoins. I think I had Shiba Inu, I had Ethereum, I had Solana, I had Cardano, I had a bunch of game tokens, probably about 20 different tokens. He just kind of sat on me for about a year until I finally caved, and then we started with my co-founder.
Well, for the record, our meetup is a Bitcoin-only meetup.
Yeah.
We've never thrown anybody out because they said they had some coin or they wanted to talk about this. I think it's important we engage with these people and let them know what we think.
And I had kind of started the Bitcoin Daily Show with that same ethos. All were welcome, even though we were a Bitcoin-only show. If it weren't for Mark having that approach, I probably would have got run off. I probably would still be shitcoin. Hopefully, I would have found my way. So eventually, solved all that. Now, completely. So I appreciate that. And then he helped me for the first 76 shows. He co-hosted with me when we started the Bitcoin Daily Show on X. So we did a live 2-hour show, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. every day. I think we ended up doing 300 days close to that. Now, tell us about when you go to a Bitcoin meetup. Tell us about the Bitcoiners. I've always like to talk about the type of person you'll meet at a Bitcoin meetup in person.
Well, it can be just about anybody, and so, since we focus on starters, Bitcoin people that want to know about Bitcoin but just don't know which direction to do, don't know how to do it. Some of them aren't very computer literate. That's kind of a challenge for us. We try to keep it on a simple end for them. But you also have very people that are into it for a while. And there's no two people that do it exactly the same way. And we actually learn from each other quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I know when Mark helped me set up my first hardware wallet, trays are. It really opened the box with me, helped me set it up on my computer. I've brought several of my friends that I've gotten into Bitcoin. I'm like, well, now it's time to go have coffee with Mark and we learn how to set this up. And so that happens a lot in Bitcoin meetups. If you're afraid to kind of that you're going to mess it up, it's important that you understand your operational security. And sometimes it's best to just have somebody that's a veteran like Mark in Bitcoin to kind of walk you through the steps and hold your hand, make sure you do it right at the time. So,
Yeah, it's just about essential to have somebody you can ask some questions to.
yeah, and sometimes you want somebody on the side of you to do it. Always, anytime I'm going to Bitcoin meetups, I meet people like Mark that have just been in it for a long time that have no problem spin up a hardware wallet or put an exchange or buy Bitcoin that way. So that's definitely one of the bigger use cases of Bitcoin meetups. And there are Bitcoin meetups everywhere. Now, maybe we can talk a little bit about the national convention because you've been to a few. We both went to Nashville together. You were telling somebody what they would expect, like going to the big national Bitcoin meetup. I think this year it's in Las Vegas.
Yeah, the Bitcoin conference is going to be the last week in May of this year. It's in Las Vegas. Last year it was in Nashville. That was a lot of fun. I've been to one in 21, was in Miami, and I think you've been in like 2022.
I went to that one in Miami right before the one in Nashville. So I went to Miami, I went to Nashville. Those were my first two ever.
All right. It's a lot of fun. You can hear the people in the conference. You can run into a lot of individual Bitcoiners and socialize with them and let them just ask them like how they do it, what's your interests. And they're really a good group of people to interface with.
Yeah. And one thing, a lot of the vendors there, they take Bitcoin, they use Lightning payment, they'll use Strike, they'll use all the different. You can actually go to this, buy T-shirts, buy artwork, buy all kind of stuff, and you're using Bitcoin the whole time. Usually, you get like a 10 or 20% discount if you use Bitcoin. But it's neat to see the ecosystem be used as a means of exchange, not just a store of value. And when you go to these, you get almost like you're going to a big farmer's market all centered on Bitcoin, and you get to use Bitcoin and watch the power of, transacting in Bitcoin for goods and services.
Yes, and at these conferences, there's usually some like timely announcements from companies and that are doing certain things or introducing new products. They'll wait till the conference to do it, and you can see it firsthand. And if you're in the right spot, you can like ask them questions about it, that sort of thing.
Yeah. And then I don't know if you ever been to BitBlock Boom. It's kind of a exclusively Bitcoin, even the vendors and everything.
So that one's in Austin?
I think it is typically in Austin, but I think last year it was in Fort Worth. I'm not sure where, but it's a Texas.
I haven't been, but I know a couple of people that have.
Yeah, I went to it. Shout out to Surfer Jim, who was a friend of mine I met on X Spaces, and he recommended it to me. I got to meet the founder of that, but that's another really good. It's a lot smaller, but it's exclusively Bitcoin, and you get a lot of OG maximalist Bitcoin. That's another good one. And now, have you ever been to one of these core dev meetings?
No, I haven't. I've heard about them in Austin.
Yeah, well, I went to one in Nashville, and Ted, the other host at the New Orleans Meetup, he goes regularly, and it was something. That's just talking about that's the topic we're talking about is kind of live in person, in the flesh events, not online stuff. So this is a monthly meetup where it's just the Baton Rouge crowd. Some people from Lafayette will drive in. We've got another one in New Orleans. Then there's the big national meetups, which goes from city to city. You got BitBlock Boom, which is another once a year national meetup. Are there any others? I know
there's another Bitcoin conference on the West Coast, Pacific Bitcoin.
Yeah. And now, is that still going on? Because I know some used to do that. They kind of pause on
I don't know. We fall into the category geographically of the one like we've been going to in Miami and Nashville. It's also Bitcoin Prague and Bitcoin Amsterdam.
Now, I think that's still run by David, the same people that run Bitcoin the United States with Nashville.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's the same people. I've talked to David X a few times. He's threatened to come on this show. Just need to reach out to him if you're listening, David, and get you scheduled to come on this podcast. For those of you who don't know, this is every Sunday through Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern. We do a live show to talk about Bitcoin. We're bringing a lot of Bitcoiners on here with all different areas of expertise. This is my personal Bitcoin meetup because I'm in Baton Rouge. I also go to the one in New Orleans. And so I asked Mark, I said, what is it? The first Tuesday of every month is this one, right?
Yeah, we meet up and for those that are going to be tuning in, it's a matter, we're in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And we usually meet at a place called the Bulldog, which is like just a beer hall. It's pretty friendly, and they know us. And, it's got like ample on a Tuesday. It's kind of a light night for them, so we usually have plenty of room whenever we want to.
Yeah, and that's typical of most Bitcoin meetups. They'll just find a coffee house or a bar that they meet up once a month. Some of them meet up weekly, but mostly it's once a month throughout the country. So now you're on Meetup.com. And you have that's what I found.
No, we got Meetup.com. We totally advertise both on X, we have an account, and also on
Orange Pill app.
what is it?
Orange Pill app.
Orange Pill app, and X. We have an account. We also have like a Telegram channel. We advertise. You tuned into our Telegram channel. You know all about us, and that's sufficient advertising to get to the crowd of people locally that we want to.
Yeah. So this is really kind of taking down the topic of in-person meetups. You've got local in-person meetup that usually are small groups in the city, meet monthly, sometimes weekly. You've got your annual conventions. BitBlock Boom is a Bitcoin only. Pretty good. The Nashville. I think it's just Bitcoin.
It's Bitcoin Magazine.
Bitcoin Magazine. Okay, so that's what they do. Their city this year is Nashville. And then you should look into attending your core dev meetings. I know there's a good one in Nashville. I've been to that one. There's one in Austin. There's one in New York. There's one in LA. There might be one in Denver. And then I know there's one in Vancouver because a co-host of mine on the previous show I was working with, they have one in Vancouver. And these are the people that are kind of like the brain trust. I think there's about 800 core developers working on Bitcoin globally. There's only been about 1,200 core developers ever in the history of Bitcoin. From what I understand. But 800 of them are actively working on creating all the impediments, the lightning rails, like everything that has to do with Bitcoin. These guys are working on. And so they'll typically meet monthly at one of these hubs, and it's just talk about going deep down the rabbit hole. But if you haven't been and you're a Bitcoiner and you just want to know more, take yourself to the next level, push yourself to you should attend one of those. Highly recommend the Nashville one. I've heard great things about it as well. And again, you can find those on Meetup.com. Just like you could find a lot of them. So, anything else we want to share with the audience before we bring on Morgan?
Just one more thing about the meetup. The way we've always run it, we don't have any sponsors. We don't collect dues. We don't even manage an email list for members. So that's good for privacy. And if you take like a sponsorship somewhere, you have to run into the problem. Well, what are you going to do for these folks? And so you never know where you are. So if anybody offers sponsorship, we're always going to want to tell them that, come on over to the meetup, meet everybody, and hawk your product, whatever you want to. Buy a few drinks. We don't mind.
Good deal. Now, normally you used to do a little news segment. Is there anything in the news that's happening right now for Bitcoin news that you want to highlight?
Only the thing about like the Bitcoin reserve, no longer a Bitcoin reserve. It's a crypto reserve.
It's a crap coin reserve plus Bitcoin.
I'm just underwhelmed about that.
Oh my gosh. What a face plant. Come on, Trump. I like that guy, but look, this is normal. I know a lot of Bitcoiners are going to be pissed at Trump, but just remember back in your shitcoin days where you didn't know the difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum and Cardano, and look at all the functionality and the marketing tools, plus these you know these altcoins, these shitcoins, donated big to this campaign, so you probably feel some responsibility to make this more of a crypto reserve, just Bitcoin exclusive.
It's not going to hurt Bitcoin.
No.
It's just a dumb move.
Well, I just hate knowing that our tax dollars, our U.S. dollar, is going into these, you know, centralized projects that have free mines that you're basically just lining the pockets of these founders. Whereas with Bitcoin, you're helping out the global ecosystem of Bitcoin. It's going to be good. I'll tell you what, a Bitcoin strategic reserve is good for America. A strategic reserve of all these altcoins is good for the altcoin founders. So there's your difference. Like, this is America paying back the altcoiners. Bitcoin can help America strengthen our economy. But if you want to hear something good about it, I actually just discovered, what's that guy, the founder of Strike?
Jack Mallers.
Jack Mallers. He has a great podcast that airs every Monday, 6 p.m. live Eastern. And he did a huge rant on this today. I loved it. I would listen to it twice. I'm like, okay, you got to get that word out. But he just goes off on the altcoins being part of the strategic reserve, rightly so. And so if you want to learn a little bit more about that, he does a much better job of presenting it. All right, anything else before we get Morgan on?
That's all I have for now.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for coming on, Mark.
All right, thank you.
Yep. All right, let's get, who's next? Another one of my fellow Bitcoiners. All right. Next we have Morgan. Airing live from the Bulldog here in Baton Rouge. And this is my buddy Morgan, who came in. You were actually my first, I think you were one of my first. Yeah, you were the first one. Well, I had somebody interview me, and I aired that on my YouTube channel. You can get about yes.
Right here.
Yeah, perfect. You can hear yourself. You
can't hear yourself. I can't hear myself. Yeah, good.
All right. So, anything in the news? I know you had a couple of big news stuff come up. What's going on that's newsworthy?
The big news is the latest hack by the North Korean hackers on Ethereum. So Bybit, is that correct?
I didn't hear about that. What's going on?
It was actually on an exchange called Bybit, a $1.5 billion hack, and the hackers have essentially rolled all of this stolen Ethereum into Bitcoin, and that shows you how little desire there is really to hold Ethereum by even criminals. I mean, like you could say, yeah, if Ethereum really was this decentralized, up and coming great cryptocurrency, even hackers would want to hold it.
Yeah,
but
you know, it's kind of like when the criminals are using something for privacy, it's not a luxury; it's a necessity. Criminals need their privacy is a matter of life or death, or life imprisonment stuff. So when the hackers and the thieves and all of them are using anything because of its safety, security, that kind of stuff, that's a signal that this is a good tool. Now, granted, we're not supporting criminal activity, but I mean, if you want to buy a good safe, you may want to say, well, what safe does the mafia use? Because they're really trying to secure gold and stuff like that. So,
that's the most. Yeah.
What's because really that's all you should be worried about is which coin out there can be messed with the least. And
even the developers and I think it was the Ethereum board actually came together, and they were offering to roll back the Ethereum blockchain to erase the hackers stolen funds, and that shows you how centralized it is.
Yeah.
And so if Ethereum is truly centralized, then it's lost a huge portion of its claim to be valuable.
It reminds me of some of these privacy chat apps that I think it was Tucker Carlson was saying. What's the biggest privacy chat app? Is it not Telegram? It's
WhatsApp. Not WhatsApp.
WhatsApp. It's shoot. can't remember. A lot of the Bitcoiners use it. Anyway, he was using it, and all of his stuff got leaked. So for something that's supposedly ironclad, we can hack, it's completely private communication. It goes to show that a lot of this stuff is not. And so for them to be able to roll back Ethereum, that means they have control over it. That means they have control over your keys. They have control over your Ethereum. That means you really hold and own Ethereum at the discretion of the centralized authority. And they're not letting you know the powers that they have. Whereas the Bitcoiners, maybe talk about how Bitcoin is the opposite.
Bitcoin's the opposite because you have
in mind,
the decentralized and widespread developers that aren't on any sort of centralized board. It's incredibly difficult for the group of developers behind that are actually writing code for the Bitcoin protocol to really come to any sort of agreement. And that makes it incredibly hard to change this code. Whereas with centralized boards like the Ethereum board, it's incredibly easy for a few large stakeholders to come together and manipulate the blockchain for their own needs.
Right. Yeah, and usually they're either trying to protect their network or protect their nest egg. Do you remember how it played out where they really kind of screwed the miners of Ethereum and they went from proof of work to proof of stake?
I don't remember that specifically, but I remember that the switch from proof of work to proof of stake was a very costly blow to the credibility of Ethereum as one of the up and coming cryptocurrency. It's really not number two to Bitcoin. It's so far second. There is no second.
Now, is there anything in the news that you know about? Because I know every time I come to Bitcoin Meetup, you've always got some news stuff that's happening. I'm like, I'm asleep at the wheel. He's always a month ahead of me in news.
Actually, it's something more along the lines of personal finance that I've found really interesting lately. Has been Fold recently went public, and they now have 1,010 Bitcoin in their treasury. Fold is a public company offering financial products, which are debit cards, credit cards. And the new credit card that they just debuted on, I believe it was February 11th, is now going to be offering 2% rewards on every single purchase.
Oh, wow.
So it's a great deal for anybody who has ongoing bills. Like anything you buy on this credit card, you're getting 2% back in Bitcoin on an app you can trust that actually holds reserves 1-to-1.
You use Fold?
I do.
Okay, so tell us a little bit more about. Can you say more about how you use it?
So Fold originally started as a debit card app. So they were originally started to help people who didn't have any room in their budget to say, I want a dollar cost average. Say you have no chance of saving any money this month. You could at least say, I'm going to use this checking account. I'm going to get 0.5% back on each purchase in Bitcoin. That'll allow you to stack something. And so getting off zero is so important for the average user, and having it on a platform you can trust, it makes it easy user interface, nothing intimidating. You want to bring as many people in and make it easy for them to get off zero as possible. Fold's really done a great job with that. And the debit card was really the intro product. And now they're branching out into credit cards. And so the credit card's going to be a 2% reward back on everything you buy. And so
now, is there, maybe speak a little bit about the difference between means of exchange and store of value. I mean, this code is more of a means of exchange that we start to use it to trade for goods and services. Can you speak a little bit about those two? Tell people the difference.
The benefit of store of value is really like I'm trying to save. I'm trying to have excess use of whatever I wasn't spending at the end of the month, save for a rainy day. This allows you to build up savings. So Fold is giving you an opportunity, even with their debit card, to simply use a Fold-based credit card. You can save a tiny amount of Bitcoin every month, even if you couldn't otherwise save anything. And so store value, but also as a means of exchange, Fold also allows even other features such as push to Bitcoin. You can even get your whole paycheck in certain portions of it in Bitcoin. And it's such a great app, and it gives everybody a little flavor. So, for example, you have dollar cost averaging your auto stack by Fold. You have direct deposit. So you have portion of your paycheck into Bitcoin automatically. You have roundups, so you could do 20 cents on 180, and you can even have options to double or triple it. And so all these great options that appeal whatever works for you. So they're taking, like, for example, the roundups, like from Acorns. If you remember the app called Acorn, which allow you to take your roundups on everyday purchases and put it into, say, an investment fund or stocks.
Yeah, and so this is I guess this next layer of Bitcoin that Bitcoin is like an onion. It's got layers. Or like an oval.
And full names to be a Bitcoin financial services, and they're really revolutionizing our idea of a modern bank. And so that's really their goal, is to really change our perception of what a modern bank can be. So by offering a debit card and a credit card, it gets really fun at some point, because you can actually get rewards in your credit card and then pay them off with your debit card and get extra rewards. It's kind of it's something you can gamify, make fun, make saving fun.
I remember Tracy. She was a former co-host. Shout out to Tracy. Getting her on the show soon. She was a big Fold advocate and did a big deep dive into that, and how she can get all these points and get all this Bitcoin rewards and how much Bitcoin she had gotten. And as you see how much you can actually use on this, you can actually stack a decent amount of Bitcoin if you just change your buying habits and change your buying patterns. Still shopping at what are some of the stores you can use? Amazon, Walmart, pretty much.
You can shop anywhere you use a regular debit or credit card.
Nice. And then with every card swipe, you're getting 2% back.
This credit card actually hasn't been released yet. I'm still on a wait list for it. But there are also options on the market right now. Like, for example, a Gemini credit card I've been using for a long time now. You get 4% on rewards on gas up to $200 a month. You get 3% back on bars and restaurants, 2% on groceries, and 1% on everything else. And so that's, until this Fold card comes out, that's my favorite credit card. Everything goes in the Gemini card until this new Fold card.
Nice. All part of being a Bitcoin maxi. Just try to touch as little dollars as possible. Find ways to, and then I know, I'm not sure if Fold does this. You might have said this, but I know I used to use my phone-based card, and I could actually have them spend my Bitcoin at the cash register, so that I had $0 in my name, like not in a checking account or nothing. I converted 100% of my petty cash to Bitcoin.
It is feasible to do that with the Fold card. I think really the problem with pushing everything straight to Bitcoin is that whenever you go in and out, for example, Strike offers in their app now an option to do exactly what you just described. However, there are tax implications, because they actually do have to have a sell at the moment that you convert. So you don't, if you really don't want to have any taxable events and create more tax complication for yourself, the ideal method is to not.
Yeah.
To not do that.
Yeah, and then you would only pay taxes if there's a gains, and so I think they're still trying to figure that out. I know the IRS is probably going to be struggling with
have as many employees this way. Did you hear?
Not in. I did not. What happened? Please.
Oh man.
Is this Doge? Is this the act of Doge?
This could be another. It was rumored that the IRS employees could be cut in half. 90,000.
Man, hopefully that's off by maybe 10x that now.
And there was also a rumor about possibly Trump letting go capital gains on Bitcoin. So
nice.
That would be incredible.
We'll take every win we can get at this point. Let's just start firing.
Let's stack the wins.
That's right.
Stack the wins and stack the Bitcoin.
Absolutely. I'd like you to speak a little bit. Last time you were on my show, I think it was a good message. Maybe you could speak on it again and speak a little bit more. Sailor is taking Bitcoin and making it accessible. It's almost like you said, you used an analogy of an oil company. They take an
oil refinery. Yeah. So Sailor's really revolutionizing corporate finance right now with MicroStrategy. He's offering an entire portfolio of products where at the very bottom of the range is the lowest risk, and at the top of the range is the highest risk. and where you have the absolute most exposure to Bitcoin. And so mostly on the bottom end, you have something like convertible bonds. You have a bond that's convertible at a certain strike price in the future to equity. And so that's allowed MicroStrategy to get access to 0% interest capital. And just take every bit of that 0% interest capital that you and I could not ever get 0% interest on any sort of loan to go out in the market and buy Bitcoin. Also, he's taking the at the money equity and selling new shares into the market to go and buy Bitcoin. And he's offering it in all kinds of flavors. So, for example, at the bottom, you had your convertible bonds. You work your way up. You have you have Bitcoin ETFs, which are like one right at even with the Bitcoin spot price. Then you have MicroStrategy, or now Strategy Equity, which is trades about 1.5, 2x Bitcoin exposure. Then on top of that, you have options on strategy stock. So you have this whole range of options. And even with the introduction most recently of the preferred strategy stock, which offers a perpetual 8% dividend for those that really want a dividend on top of the option to convert into 1/10 of a common share per preferred share. And for example, some companies, like only insurance companies, can say, for example, buy preferred shares. Some other companies only want bonds. Some companies only want stock, offering a flavor for everyone. Every buyer has different needs, different risk preferences, and to give everyone in the market exposure to Bitcoin is a winning strategy.
And so for my English speakers that are used to like trying to understand just finance and stuff, essentially, correct me if I'm wrong, I try to simplify it. But, so you get your paycheck, you got dollars, and you can put it in the savings account, keep it in dollars. Until we know what's happening, you just get pummeled by constant printing and debasement of that currency. So you're losing purchasing power. So it doesn't goes from $2 to $8. So now 4 times $8 in 5 years. So it's like, where do I stash this stuff? So you could just go buy Tesla stock. You could go buy a house. You could buy these other products. So now you're not a person. Imagine you're an institution. And the problem is these institutions, they just can't buy it. Their accounting practices, their CFO, their board, so you can't touch it. How do you know where you would put it? How do you hold the keys and stuff? So this is where MicroStrategy comes in and offers a product they're used to buying. Bonds, equity, stock. And he's like, we're going to slice up Bitcoin in all the flavors that a corporate buyer would want and make it easy for them to buy, just like they might buy Tesla or Apple stock. He's able to like an oil refinery. So in the oil refinery analogy, what's the oil?
The oil is Bitcoin.
And then he also has access to the capital markets and debt markets that he can just get more, what would we call this? Just liquidity?
More liquidity, yeah. So there's a absolutely bottomless pit of liquidity searching for higher yield to hopefully outpace inflation. And so you end up with a situation where everyone wants to outpace inflation, but very few people can. And once people realize that the best game in town is MicroStrategy, holding the largest reserves of Bitcoin in the world, right now, 499,000. It's incredible.
Did he pass up BlackRock? I know he was pissed that they were beating him for a second there. I can't remember.
I don't think he has.
Well, hopefully,
We'll see.
hopefully he finds a way. I hate that BlackRock would be winning this, but oh well. They do have $10 trillion of assets under management. So this is just a fraction of what they have. All right. Anything else on the news?
We have the lovely Bitcoin strategic reserve that's been coming along. Unfortunately, it's been a little bit muddied with lovely, not so lovely altcoins.
Yeah. Me and Mark just talked about that. I pointed everybody to Jack Mahler's Monday 6 p.m. Podcast he does live on YouTube. Check that out. He went off on him today. I'm so glad he did. He didn't hold anything back. I mean, it's just a big shit show. Them adding anything but to a strategic reserve?
The way I see it is, you also have a separate take. You could be frustrated with it, or you could say this is going to expose all the altcoins for the non central the more centralized features. You could show how every single one of them had a CEO, had a board, has a centralized group with their own interests at heart, and they're not like Bitcoin. They're not like an asset without an issue. So they're not a digital commodity. So the digital commodity will win out because everyone can trust it. It'll be globally trusted, whereas you can't globally trust a team of people in the United States or a team of people in Germany not to stick up for their own interests.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's always when you have an issuer. Companies issue stock. The founders of Ethereum issue Bitcoin. They have control over it. They can manipulate it. They can do things to it. Those are securities. A commodity, there is no issuer of gold. There's no issuer of corn. There's no issuer of aluminum. Same thing with Bitcoin. It is a commodity. There is no issuer. You buy on the open market. You can't change it from market to market. Bitcoin in China looks a lot like Bitcoin in America, looks a lot like Bitcoin in El Salvador. Doesn't matter. Just like a bar of gold doesn't change when it crosses international boundaries. However, these tokens, you've got founders and centralized teams that can do anything they want at will. And so I think Bitcoin's good for America, but America's good for these altcoins. It's kind of like, who are you doing the strategic reserve for? The founder of these altcoins or for the American population?
I'm looking forward to the shakeout. I know you are.
Yeah, me too. All right. Well, thank you for coming on the show. Any last words?
I appreciate you having me, Craig, and I look forward to being on again soon.
Yeah, good deal. All right. So now we got Daniel, our last guest of the night. I don't know what Daniel wants to talk about. We'll see. How's it going, Daniel?
Good.
You need to put the mic about an inch from your mouth, and it gets real good sound. You can push if you need to, but you should be able to hear yourself.
Yeah. Happy Mardi Gras.
Yeah, today is Mardi Gras Day. That's right. We are in Louisiana. Big celebration. We got a little storm going. You went to a big Mardi Gras parade here in Baton Rouge.
It was a lot of fun. I rode on a float in Spanish Town Parade in Baton Rouge on Saturday. Threw a lot of trinkets to a historic crowd of 250,000 people who came out that day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for those of you who haven't attended a Mardi Gras celebration here in Louisiana or New Orleans, even Baton Rouge, Lafayette, got some really good stuff. Really cool. It's worth an experience. You just come down here, have a good time. But make sure you come back when it's not Mardi Gras season because it's completely swamped with tourists and stuff. All right, so what do you have for us in regards to Bitcoin? Any topics that came to mind this last month since we left the Bitcoin Meetup?
I've always appreciated the value of money in a philosophical sense. What is money supposed to be? It's something that we can exchange easily, that holds its value. We trade the hours of effort that we put into something in our lives, the risk of things going wrong to obtain something, to build something better for the future. And money is supposed to do that well and not become worth less and less over time.
Mm-hmm.
I think when was the Genesis block mine? That was that late 2008?
I think so. It's been going strong for 15, 16 years.
Yeah.
Without too much disruption. I think hardly zero.
In October 2008, I was a graduate student at the University of Texas, and I got an email every day announcing all the events that were happening on campus. And I noticed that Dick Fisher, who ran the Dallas Fed, was giving a lecture to the business school. So I went to hear what he had to say. He talked for an hour on the role of the Federal Reserve in solving the great financial crisis. Talked about the unprecedented tools that they had at their disposal. This crowd of business students revered him as some kind of god, it seemed. And there's a little Q&A after, and people would ask questions like, how does it feel different working for Mr. Bernanke than Mr. Greenspan? He went on for a long time talking about trivial differences in the office environment and managerial styles. He called on me to ask for a question, and locking eye contact, I said, was not the root of the current crisis that you guys kept the interest rate too low for too long after the dot-com bust, and that fed the speculative bubbles that are now bursting? And guess what he said? You're absolutely right. It's our fault.
Whoops.
But that wasn't part of the talk, and he would have never mentioned that unless someone brought it up. One of my friends who came with me asked him why fiat currency was better than gold, and there wasn't really a good answer for that either. I didn't feel like our questions were very appreciated in that community, but at that time, it seemed Bitcoin didn't exist yet, but there was gold. But I think that's interesting that it was about that exact same time that the Genesis block was mined. You read what Satoshi and his friends were talking about. It was kind of a response to the excesses in the financial system to create something better, which seems like they did a good job.
Oh yeah.
A peer-to-peer decentralized system with no single point of failure, with no ability of governments to confiscate what you have, the imperviousness to theft, devaluation. It seems like a great technology.
Oh yeah. Now, me and you have talked about how it kind of demonetizes violence and war and that kind of stuff. What are your thoughts around its effect on, all these massive militaries that are made to kind of hold in check their populations, security forces, police forces, taxing agencies, pretty much anyone that are designed to kind of make you pay? What does Bitcoin do to that ecosystem?
Yeah, well, if they can't take it, it can't be misallocated toward violence, like anything.
That's right. Yeah, because unfortunately, a lot of the dollars that we hold, that we worked hard for, that we poured energy into, they then take those dollars, dilute them, fund the violence across the world. And this is something that when you hold Bitcoin, you can rest assured that that's not going to be done. It can't be diluted. There's only a fixed supply of 21 million. And no Bitcoin founder can come in, or no centralized CEO right now in Bitcoin headquarters that can just say, well, today we're going to have an extra million. We're going to give that to our friends. It's always 21 million. It's never been any more. It's verified.
What was that guy's name from Human Rights Foundation who gave a talk in Bitcoin Nashville?
Is it Alex Gladstein?
Yeah, Gladstein.
Yeah,
Gladstein. Yeah,
great guy. He came up with
a paper on. He described it as dictatorship-proof money.
Oh, I love that.
Talking about you try to finance something good in countries that are dictatorships, and you go through the conventional financial system. That's not going to work. But Bitcoin actually works.
Yeah, definitely works, and it keeps working, and it works 24/7, around the clock. One thing I love is that you can verify. Go meet somebody, preferably not some Asian girl that you meet online. They're constantly. Have you been approached by Asian girls like every 10 times a night, wanting to know if you can you see phrases available for them? Am I the only one getting hit by them? X and everywhere else.
I have a very private life. I don't put myself at risk of this kind of situation from a lot of strangers. It might happen now that I'm on this podcast.
Oh, shoot.
But it's never happened before.
Here they come. Okay, well, if you're a normal X or Telegram or Facebook, you may be if you discover when you get into Bitcoin or anything like that, that bunch of for men, it seems like to be a lot of Asian girls will reach out to you and try to make friends with you. And this could be somebody from, no disrespect to the Asian
Now,
girls.
are you sure they're Asian girls?
No, I was about to say this could be somebody from Pakistan.
They might not. They're probably not girls or Asian
Either. That's right.
as far as I can.
And never give your seed phrase to anybody. Standard rule. No, don't give your. It's like, remember, Bitcoin is a bearer instrument. Whoever has those 12 to 24 words, they have your Bitcoin and they can take them instantly. So it's just like cash on the table. Whoever holds that cash is the owner of it. If anyone, even, and there will be some elaborate schemes where they will pose as a service department or a help desk for a very well-known, maybe Bitcoin wallet, but the whole thing's a scam. If anyone ever asks you for your 12 words, they're about to steal all of your Bitcoin. 12 or 24 words. Never give that. Any other cautionary tale we may want to tell new Bitcoiners?
Don't keep your Bitcoin on a software hot wallet on your phone. You should make a $100 or so investment in a hardware wallet and use the best practices to preserve your Bitcoin.
Yeah. A few that I recommend would be Trezor is a good one. Cold cards, a lot of the OGs use that one. That's a really good Jericho.
I use Trezor.
Me too. And then what's that? Jade Blockstream's another good one that I've heard good things about. There are some software wallets that are decent. Wasabi's a good one. Sparrow's another one. But for the most part, you should get it in a hardware device. It's not connected to the internet, and then hammer it out your seed phrase in stainless steel. There's a lot of good companies out there, especially if you go to the Nashville or the Las Vegas convention. You'll have some vendors that will sell all kind of hardware stuff.
So just to explain the best practices in greater detail, could you tell me exactly where at your house I can find your metal seed phrase?
Yes, ours is at we keep our metal seed phrases at the bottom of our septic tank, all the way at the bottom. You got to get in there really good. It's about 6 feet deep. You need about 4 or 5 guys in there with you. If you roll around, you'll find it eventually. And I think Daniel keeps his in about the same place. And now if agents are with you, it's going to take about a few more of them just to help you out. And it's time sensitive. I think you got to stay down there for about 12 hours before it pops out. So just sit there and wait.
There's a little push button at the bottom.
There's a little push button at the bottom. I think you got to smell the bottom of it, and then it'll pop out. That's where I keep mine. It's safe and secure. I don't go down there unless I really need to. But shoot, I probably shouldn't have said that on mine. Now everybody's here. Yeah, don't tell everybody where you got your 12 words hidden. All right. Any last remarks for our Bitcoin community online? Coming from Daniel.
I don't really pay attention to the exchange price day to day. I just look at it as I would evaluate any technology. There's the quality of the underlying software and the use case. And the use cases for Bitcoin, I don't see those going away in the world that we live. And software seems to be pretty well proven at this point. If there was a way to hack it and take the what is it now, $1 trillion market cap,
Close to 2, almost
2 trillion. If there was a way to steal that, someone would have found it. It's plenty incentive to put a lot of resources toward any attempted crime, and it hasn't happened. So I think it looks pretty good.
Yes, I encourage all hackers and governments to please try to take all the Bitcoin. You need to waste all the energy and time you can possibly to do this. It's probably the most difficult $2 trillion to get your hands on. What I love of the $2 trillion buckets out there, it's the one that you just need to move on, find something a little soft. Don't pick the house that's got 40 Navy SEALs camping out having a party to break into. Find something a little easier.
check every septic tank. It's probably in the bottom of
Yes.
one of them.
That's actually a Louisiana tradition. We usually, Bitcoiners, keep our seed phrases at the bottom of the septic tank. So you should check them all if you're into stealing people's Bitcoin. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you having me. We're going to
Appreciate being here. Thank you.
This is Craig LeBlanc signing off with the Bitcoin Daily Show here at 9 p.m. Sunday through Thursday. And we got a little cool outro that I think is, let me make sure, this is something that Chris made for us. Yeah, it's ready to go. All right, I'll see y'all here again at 9 p.m. tomorrow. Take care. Love you guys.
Welcome to the Daily Bitcoin Podcast, where knowledge meets financial freedom. We're here to break down the world of Bitcoin. No fluff, no hype, just real talk about how this digital asset is reshaping the future of money. Inflation is stealing your purchasing power, but what if there was a way to fight back? Enter Bitcoin, the digital currency that empowers you to take control of your wealth. Ever wondered why your money doesn't stretch as far as it used to? At the Daily Bitcoin Podcast, we educate, inform, and inspire. From expert interviews to breaking news, we bring you everything you need to stay ahead in the Bitcoin community. Market updates, expert insights, real-world use cases, and practical tips to navigate the Bitcoin economy. So whether you're a seasoned Bitcoin investor or just getting started, this is your daily dose of Bitcoin wisdom. Don't miss out. Subscribe now, hit that bell icon, and let's break free from the chains of inflation, one Bitcoin at a time. The Daily Bitcoin Podcast, your gateway to financial freedom.